All right, all right. Hello, hello. Welcome to not a Hex Happy Hour show, but a very important Hex whale watching with Randy Hilarski, Motley Investor, Big Pep in the house, whales only, hopefully soon to be joined by Big Kurkowski. So much to talk about. We can, we'll have a lot to talk about this big ending stake. Just around the room, we can do a couple recent current events, which I think are definitely of relevance before we get into the big topic. And first of all, happy Pi Day, soon to be happy Steak Day here in the next 45 minutes. Where are we at? Richard Hart put out a tweet on, I believe it was Thursday or Friday, and we're going to bring that up right now. And he was basically, developers, no solidity, and Rust or Go, I want to hire you. And it went from there, and the speculation just took off. We had a great chat with Coffee on Friday, Kareem, about this. I just want to go around the room because to me, this is quite open-ended. If you could interpret it a few ways. You want to say lower fees. You believe possibly a bear market is coming. So we all know Richard likes to build when the bear market, is in session or on the horizon. Man, so many implications of this. So anybody in the room, whoever wants to take it over.
Well, he mentioned in that interview with the NASDAQ lady the other day about some platform developing. I think it was, I wasn't tuned in real sharply on that portion of it, but something about building a platform to validate HEX tokens or something like that for the staking. He didn't go into any great details.
No.
But he hinted towards a platform he wants built along those lines. Now, what that means, I don't know. You could extrapolate it from there, but
in the validation,
I imagine it's for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the valid. Go ahead, Randy.
I see this, and does he build his own version of something like Tron, and we have a Hex version? Because Tron's just a fork of ETH, right? It's not too difficult to do, but then we have to have people who are mining the coin, or are we going to be proof of stake? Like, I think Tron's proof of stake, right? I don't know. Don't correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I don't even pay attention to Tron.
We'll probably be proof of stake if I had to guess.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it'll be proof of stake from the beginning. So I don't think it'll be that hard to do, because he'll find really good developers who probably knock this out in a couple of days.
Yep.
If he really wants to.
I was thinking along the same lines, and I think we're gonna just need to kind of wait for more clarification. And I don't know what Richard's actually going to be at liberty to say during one of his live streams. Even tweeting something out like this, he's given us some breadcrumbs, but he's not able to probably really elaborate on what he's doing in the background. But it does look like maybe we are going to our own chain. And then I find it really interesting that we're just looking at encapsulating and then trying to reach all the chains. So not just Hex's own chain, but being able to Ethereum, Tron, Cardano, anyone can access Hex and stake. Essentially, I imagine it's going to link back to the Hex contract that we have on layer 1, and they'll be able to interact and create everything from there. It's just via being encapsulated. But it's going to be interesting to see. I think he's just making a couple moves ahead, whether that be Ethereum 2.0, whether that be that with all this NFT garbage he sees, that he foresees us ending this bull run we've been on shorter than a lot of people have been thinking. And maybe he's just setting Hex up to be the kind of shining northern star during a bear market. So time's going to tell.
Yeah, I wonder how we're going to do the encapsulation of the stakes, because I know one of the copycats, they're wrapping with NFT. They're doing an NFT, and you'll be able to sell your stakes to somebody else. So I'd like to see, how it's going to work, what the plans are.
Yeah, just because he's preemptively doing all this stuff doesn't mean it's going to be coming anytime soon. I think this kind of stuff takes a while to build out, so I think he's just trying to be ahead of the game, essentially, so he has moves available to him depending on how the environment changes as we move along. So that doesn't necessarily mean that we're making this switch like tomorrow or even in the next couple months. This could be much further down the road. He's just getting prepared for it.
we all know how long software takes, and I mean, just on the basic level with what I work with in marketing, you get a project deadline and there's always bugs and things to fix, and it gets extended out. So this on multiples of that scale, who knows what we're getting into on that, but it is absolutely exciting to think about. Mention the talk of, say, the cycle, and say where are we at? I'd like to go around the room and just be like, okay, well, Bitcoin's what, 60K right now. Are we at the top? I mean, a lot of people think we are, depending upon what chart you go by. If you're like a stock to flow person, which I lean towards, I think we're going to 6 digits this cycle. It's so debatable, but it is actually fun and relevant to talk about when it comes to crypto, because they all do follow, in a sense, the Bitcoin price, whether it's Ethereum or you go down to altcoins. I mean, we're seeing this NFT thing, which that's a whole nother topic, which we can get into. But, just, I guess I'll start with you, Randy. Where do you see where we're at in Bitcoin, and where do you think we could be headed possibly, in your view?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely one of the more pessimistic people, thinking that we're getting towards the end. I think by fall we should definitely know for sure. I'm one of those people that every time a price doubles on a coin that I own, I'll sell 10%. So I'm at the point now where things are so well, the prices have gone up so much, it's time to just put everything, that 10% into USDT or USDC and set it on the side. For those of you guys who don't know, the beginning of the year, I was probably about 70% HEX, but I've been continuing to put money into crypto all year long. And so now I'm only about 30 to 40% HEX because I haven't added much. I felt comfortable with the amount of shares that I have. So, and now I'm making money with other projects that are launching. So that's what I do. I don't trade. I find projects that are launching and I make 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20x. That's my goal. So using that money, and then when I start making profits of those money, I take the 10% off and put it in USDT, and that could be the money that I live off for the next couple of years. So I don't have to look at HEX. HEX is I don't touch it. I don't even look at it. It's just there. My average stakes over 12 years. Just enjoy. Sip some cocktails, HEX. Enjoy.
Yeah, and before we go over to Motley, we've been joking back and forth, I guess, for a few days about this stream, and Motley I'm kind of in agreement with him. It could be very well be a non-event if everything's staked and pushed out or whatever, but it still is like one of, if not the biggest, I guess it is the biggest stake ever, and it is definitely worth talking about and having a great panel like you guys on here for it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, we can have fun with it, right? Like,
absolutely, man. That's
because
why we're
regardless of what move this whale makes, like it benefits you. Like there's no way that anyone that's already in the community and in the ecosystem that you lose out by this whale splashing around. Whatever move he decides to make, there's no way that you can really lose. If he sells, I won't even get into it. We'll dive into it later, but there's no way anyone that's already in the HEX ecosystem that you can really lose, regardless of what this whale does.
Yeah, so back to, I guess, Bitcoin price, and like you said, we'll get to that in due time here, but where do you think we are in your vision of the cycle, Motley?
So I'm clueless when it comes to charts. I rely on people like Whales Only and look into crypto, people that are much more intelligent and much more skilled at charting and predicting via that way, and I rely heavily on individuals like that. For me, I kind of go the dollar cost style. I go more off my gut feel. I go off indicators that I might see, how the communities and different Telegram groups are responding, acting, how much frothing FOMO are we actually at. And I will say the NFT market is scaring the shit out of me. As everyone probably already knows, we're seeing all-time highs. The latest NFT sold for just shy of 70 million. Whether that's a legit sale, who knows? But those are indicators. I have my boss coming to me, talking to me about these top NFTs that are selling for tens of thousands of dollars. So to me, normally that would have indicated we're at the top. Take your profits, start hedging into some stable coins. But we're also, as Richard's also elaborated on, we're in a little bit of a different game this cycle. We have we have bigger investors with stronger hands in here now. We have these Fortune 500 companies that have finally made those first steps into investing into Bitcoin. And then that's going to start leading into some other coins as well, hopefully soon HEX. So the game has changed a little bit. So it's a little bit harder to predict, even with charts and maybe indicators that I would have used in the past. So it's kind of anybody's guess, and no one really knows if we're at the peak or not. I'm getting that feeling, but again, like I said, we have players in the game that weren't here in the past, so I think that's enough to actually change what we might be used to when it comes to cycles. So I'm just kind of playing it safe, just like Randy said. Take your profits. It's a good time to do so, and then continue to play the game a little bit, make the money while you can.
Yeah, there's nothing ever wrong with taking a profit, and it doesn't matter what coin it is. It's Bitcoin, if it's even HEX, even though, we like to build the ecosystem and strengthen it by staking. There's nothing wrong with taking a profit and taking care of things that you need to do personally. And, hopefully you get to even stake out, some other coins longer, HEX coins, and, take it from there. Pep, where do you think we are in this Bitcoin cycle?
Well, I think, we're 3x from the all-time high of 2017. So normally I'd say we're at a point due for a correction. However, there's a little more uniqueness in this situation because we have tons and tons of coiled up economic energy waiting to spring as things start opening up. I don't just mean in the crypto, I mean the world in general. And when people are out partying, they're happy, they're spending money, and people are getting filthy rich on these NFTs. I agree. I think that there's a lot of manipulation. That 65 million one from Beeble, they already traced it. Those weren't your classic art historians buying that thing. It was majority crypto people that were bidding on that. They were talking about that on CNBC last week. That's definitely a bubble waiting to burst. But I think they can keep that moving for a bit longer. And even if that does pop a bit, because guys like Elon, now Kevin O'Leary, you got Mark Cuban, you got talks of New York Life coming in. I've always said, nobody wants to be first, but everybody wants to be next. Now you got these big players, and they have not only massive amounts of money, you've got their customers now, these brokerage houses that they want to get in the game too. And they want somebody as a safety net, like a Charles Schwab or Goldman Sachs, to handle that. So I think you've got a good bit of money to come in. I do believe kind of both sides of this. We could hit 100K in Bitcoin this year, as long as all the openings and everything keep going smoothly. But there's going to be a correction. It'll just be that much harder of a correction when it goes down. I wouldn't have any problem taking profits off the table up to this point, because across the space, it's just mania. It's anything NFT and the tokens. I mean, is there even anything in the top 100 that's not up by a significant percentage right now? I mean, so it's that whole monkey throwing, a dart in the dark room at a newspaper, in the stock market boom. Everything's a winner. It's a .com era all over again. And a lot of this kind of plays into that. And it's that Beanie Baby mania. It's two things with the crypto. The NFTs kind of, look at those as the Beanie Babies of the blockchain. It's a Crypto Kitties type thing. Everybody knows it. Even people that are making money on it know it. That bottom will fall out. There's other things that I think might factor in too. You've got real estate. There's a lot of booming in real estate. Real estate is a bit overvalued in many cities. There was a list of like 50 cities. I live near 3 of them that are overvalued right now. And there's a lot of people that haven't been paying the rent, haven't been paying their mortgage. It's all in arrears because of the pandemic. Those numbers have yet to be realized in the big market. Now, how much of that gets ignored because everybody's happy to be back out and living again remains to be seen. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see it touch 100. But I don't think it will get much further than that. I think if and when it hits that point, it pulls back. Now, if it pulls back another 80%, though, we're still at the all-time high of 2017. You could have a 50% correction right now in crypto, which is not unheard of at all, and you're still 10 grand over the 2017 high.
Yep. So,
there's all those things to look in. It's a tough one to call because there's so much, again, money that's been overspent, and certainly a lot of things in stocks too are way overvalued. Tesla, plenty of others. So it's ripe for a correction, just a matter of when. I think there might be some more headroom yet, but maybe not as much as we had up to this point.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, and I think I've heard it mentioned here already before you, is like nobody knows what the deal is with this cycle. The money strength to me seems way more powerful than it did 3-4 years ago. It's not this run is not being driven by retail, in my opinion. We actually have real money in the game, and that to me says a lot. So, I took some flack in the our roundabout on Friday, disagreeing with Richard because I think Richard said his end of year target, and again, he was just doing table napkin math and a guess because he was put on the spot. But he said like 33,000, and I think Kareem or somebody might have said, hey, we can certainly do that, but we can go higher before we get there. And that's absolutely a possibility. But if we're in, one of these cycles that, I think we could hit 6 digits. I don't want to hit 6 digits and be at 33K by the end of the year either. So, Brizology in chat says 14K to 60K is not retail. Absolutely. So I'm on that side of the fence. But what do you think, Wales, or is Wales not there yet right now?
Yeah,
all right. I saw you on mute. Sorry. So
no worries.
what's your read on it, man? I'd love to hear it.
So just to comment on that tweet from Rich, because I didn't earlier. I just think he's realizing he needs to be more bullish on HEX. Because when I first learned about it, I didn't understand why it was on an ERC20 token at all. I didn't get it because I understood what he did without knowing anything about the technicals or anything. I didn't know shit about HEX. I'm really just learning it now as I'm streaming with you guys and going through the steps. So that was the first thing that stood out to me, because that made me feel like it was kind of redundant. I get why he did it, but I think now he's realizing that wasn't as smart of a move as it might have been at the time. Because at the time it was a smart move, but I think now he's realizing that it's time to actually put HEX on the pedestal that it needs to be on. Because you can't have something as good as HEX really be dependent on another network. It doesn't really make sense. It should be standalone if you want it to really stand alone. That's what I thought of it when I first came across it, because, man, let me tell you, it's really that good. And if you have any experience in finance, you know this. This is not a debate. And that's a fact. You just got to look at the numbers. And if you don't know what the numbers are, you can go look them up. This is not my opinion. Again, I come with the numbers. You know how I do. So,
That's why you're here.
Yeah. But again, I think that's what he's realizing, right? Because again, at that time, it was a good move. But this was almost 2 years ago. Well, this was over a year ago at this point, right? So just to touch back in with what we're talking about now, I do think we're due for a pullback. You can't have people like Elon and all these fucking artsy fartsy people promote this shit and think it's not a top of some sort. Period. End of discussion. I really don't care what the institutions are doing, because they don't really matter. They're coming into a network. They're not really controlling the network per se. And what I mean to say is, this isn't the stock market, right? This is crypto. This is something completely unique. They don't know shit about it. Right? They're getting their hand held by people that are disincentivized to give them the best service. Because when markets are new, the whole thing about it is that they're going to feed you to death. That's the reason I don't day trade crypto. Because you're going to pay $15 fucking each way. Get the fuck out of here. I don't care how much you make. That's just ridiculous. I'm not giving middlemen any money. Right? I might pay $4 a round trip trading futures. 6 if I'm wanting to trade something crazy, right? So think about that the next time you're out there slinging crypto and you're liable to get the rug pulled on you. You're giving away money already before you even get into a position, right? That's something that the average person in crypto doesn't know, obviously, because they don't know shit about legacy finance. But I'm here to relay that kind of information, right? Stop giving your money away to these exchanges, because you're not getting anything in return for it, even if you are making a decent return. At the end of the day, what you're not realizing is that you could be making real money elsewhere. Because if you can make money in crypto, well, guess what? You can pay 1/10 of that and go make money elsewhere, right?
But Uni and 1inch gave me lots of money this year.
Sure, that's fine. But do you really want to be dependent on that? I wouldn't.
No.
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, it's just an assessment from my point of view. I don't trade. Like I know, like I get the whole. You can be strategic about it, right? And chase the airdrops for sure. But I think that it makes more sense to be strategic in a utilitarian way. Like I'll go to a certain exchange to check it out and see if I can get HEX there, or USDC, or whatever I need to get HEX. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'll use it for. As far as chasing the airdrops goes, but I do think this is the thing. I am a true believer of the stock to flow model for Bitcoin. So what I'm thinking is, like you guys said earlier, we'll take a nice little pause, get the suckers out, and then run them up until the end of the year, and then run them hard to the downside like we did 2017, 2018. That's what I think will happen, but I think we're definitely due for a pause just because of this. That's why I call it a sentiment check, right? Like everybody's too, bullish. Like, I'm sorry, you can't have CNBC talking about crypto every day and thinking it's going to continue to go higher. It's just not possible. Period. Not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
No, I totally agree with that. And when I say cycle, I'm not talking like from here we're going to 6 digits.
Oh no!
I'm totally.
Cycle.
I think we're in agreement then that
we're
going to see a dip, and then we do hit a new high.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm truly in that camp. That's the camp I'm in. I don't think this is a game is over camp. I think this is because again, crypto is a wicked market. It moves faster than anything ever because it's open 24/7. It's very important people understand that, because the kind of returns you're able to generate are 5 times faster just based on that. Because the market is open 3 to 4 or 5 times more than the average market. Excuse me. Because you have 24/7, Monday through Friday, plus weekends, right? So that's a bunch of new sessions that you didn't even have prior to, right? In a stock market or even a futures market, because the futures market and the FX market, the spot FX market, those are 24/5, or the FX market is 24/5. The futures market is 23/5, 23.5, because some exchanges are closed for an hour, some close for half an hour, whatever. But you get the gist. The point is, it's 24/7 around the clock. So, like ever since I started messing with HEX, man, I barely sleep. Like you guys see what the fucking streams I'm doing. It wasn't any different before that. It's just now I'm talking about the shit instead of reading about the shit. Right? Like that's the only difference. But at the end of the day, people have to always keep the big picture in mind. That's why trading is so difficult. And that's why HEX is so great, and it makes everything else null and void. It really does. Because all of that capital that Randy's making right now, he's making it right now. But if he would have took that base capital and threw it in HEX, he probably would have made it over 90 days anyway. If he would have staked it out long. Because the interest is just that ridiculous. It's really that ridiculous. It really, really is. 40% base? Come on, man.
Come on, man. One of my favorite segments.
I like to change it up a little bit for what's going on in the crypto markets. If you guys, I'm the marketing guy here, and I look at Google Trends, and trends are your friends, right? So right now, Google is telling us that the Bitcoin search term is down about 25% from the high a couple of weeks ago, right? HEX crypto is down 75% from the high. Ooh. So no one's really looking at HEX at the moment. So as soon as we have a little pop here, a lot of capital is going to be coming into HEX, and a lot of people are going to be searching for it. So just be prepared.
And that's an interesting point, because I wasn't even planning to talk about it yet, and I had it in the back of my mind. But say, I don't even know how long ago it was. What was it, a month ago? The big good accounting moment happened. So we had the I'm pulling it up here. So we had the supply. Where are we at?
Are you talking about the second largest stake before this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was 600 million. Was that it?
Did a video on that.
Yeah, so it was like good accounted. Yeah, it was good accounted, and we were and we kept hitting this peak of 9.8 to 9.83% staked. And we hit that twice. We hit it, I guess, a couple months ago, and then we hit it right before that good accounting moment happened. and sent us back down to 9.4, 9.5, something like that. And what's been happening, and I've just been, monitoring it every day. It's been going up ever so slowly, 9.55, 9.6, 9.65, 9.7, or actually we're now at close to 9.7. We are at 9.69. So that the supply on the market is slowly getting eaten up, and it's getting staked. And that is so bullish. I know it's not exciting for the HEX community, but if you are staked out and long, like Wales was saying, little things like this, if you're watching it and seeing that stake percentage growing over time, oh man, it cannot not fire you up.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm so fired up.
In a slow way, because we're staked out, or I would think most of us are. But
yeah, I mean it's a thing for new Hexicans coming on board, or people new to the project to keep an eye on and understand. But for most Hexicans on this stream and in this chat now, they're probably all too familiar with where Hex is going, and once all that supply is gone, that's it. And then I know we could probably, I don't know if you want to go this route, Cabana, but talk about liquidity and stuff, and see what everyone thinks on that, as far as how much liquidity is available. And I know some people have concerns about bigger players coming on board to Hex because of the liquidity issues.
yeah, let's do that for a little bit. I have one more thing to get to before the top of the hour, but yeah, go for it. I'll bring up the liquidity chart while you're talking.
Yeah, so I'm actually curious to see what it is, but I know we've had this concern with, because I think, let's see, I want to see how much moving the price against you on a buy right now. I think USDC is still the largest pair right now, correct? Let's see.
Oh yeah, I think it is.
USDC HEX. All right. So 10,000, 100,000, million. So 1 million buy in HEX right now moves the price against you 38%.
Jeez.
And yeah. So I know the concern has come up a few times with large adoption, large players like this. There's just no way they can make any sizable or reasonable buy into this current state we are with liquidity. Now, it's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but for me personally, I just kind of get the gut feeling that whatever kind of plans being orchestrated for HEX right now, I feel like we're still early, and I don't think that's necessarily the focus. I think it'll come with time, and maybe even perhaps in a different cycle. But right now, I think we garner more eyeballs if we get that violent swing upwards right now, which takes very low, a low market buy to actually, because as you can see, $1 million buy right now runs you up almost 38%. I don't know. I think Wales could probably speak on this better than I can. I was just curious to kind of gauge the room and see how everyone feels about it.
Yeah, and before I get over to Wales and Pep, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too. Silver in his
I watched it.
Yeah,
well, I caught you guys at the very end. I rewatched it.
Yeah, his video, not when I was chatting to him. So
I saw them both.
Okay, yeah. Brought up a very interesting point in that perhaps the liquidity was lowered specifically to control the buying of larger entities that could get a larger portion
and the selling too, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's just one. Wanted to throw that out there before I got more comment from Pep or Wales and go for it.
So liquidity, I mean, right now it's the way it is because you have one entity primarily providing it. I mean, if we got 20-some thousand wallets in HEX, if 10,000 people want to throw in $1,000, you'll outflank the current provider. You'll dilute it enough where they, can't control the system and people have a problem with liquidity. As far as whales swimming by, HEX just hasn't grown organically to the point for an Elon Musk to come in here. What if Elon Musk wanted to take 1.5 billion into HEX right now? That's what I'm saying. He won into Dogecoin, right? I mean, he's mostly in Bitcoin, obviously, but I mean, still, that's the point. What if Kevin O'Leary or Graham Stephan wanted to come in here and put in some big money as they have with Bitcoin? So as far as liquidity, there's nobody contractually obligated to provide liquidity. I get the points about how it's discouraging to whales, and if whales swim by, but if the bigger picture is about flushing out traders, and that's the objective of liquidity providers. And if other people step up or arbitrage into liquidity to dilute that agenda, that's an option, but it's not happening. Everybody, I mean, don't tell me not everybody has at least about $1,000 in HEX. If you wanted to throw in, you know, okay, maybe 1,000 underneath 1,000 HEX, you get a $2,000 pair of equity. Still not out of the realm of possibility for most Hexicans, I think. You know, if that was a big concern. So my take is it's kind of one of those responsibilities that's all floated, and it is what it is for that. I mean, now also I want to make a point about liquidity, because this also gets a little bit overlooked, and Richard's pointed this out. Everybody wants price wick up. Nobody wants price wick down. Small liquidity pools are going to provide you with that. Go look at one of the $100 million liquidity pools of the copycat and tell me how that price is doing. That's a perfect example of too much liquidity early in the game. So I think that, you know, I can see the sides of both arguments there, but again, you know, especially in a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, or really even a centralized like Coinbase, I think there was a time in Bitcoin you couldn't have put in that huge money. You only have Mt. Gox, you know, and then even when that got destroyed, where'd you go? So it takes time to grow, and I think that problem will be solved when HEX is, I know it's on all these exchanges, but let's be clear. Anybody that wants to buy a position in HEX is going to Uniswap. It's the only really logical place to go and buy a whale or small retail investor with $1,000. They're going to Uniswap. So, you know, once that branches out, though, and now you have a Coinbase, now you have Uniswap, now you have all these other exchanges, maybe Binance, but whatever, Qcoin, all this stuff, where you have multiple platforms with substantial liquidity, and it's, you know, spread out amongst different players. Again, organic growth will get there. You know, buying, you know, bids and asks, and Richard's already talked about people shorting HEX and stuff like that. We just aren't there yet. I think once all those things are in place, liquidity will just, again, grow organically as well, and it will be resolved on its own. Right now, at this point in time, it's just where we are.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I agree.
Wales, what you got on liquidity?
If you're
or not. Okay.
Intermission.
All right, intermission. So just while we're waiting on Wales, because I want to get his take on this, and this is what I meant earlier by just the underlying metrics that I'm seeing. So just in the past half hour, we've seen 2 million HEX staked for close to 5,000 days, another 2 million for 5,000 days, 1 million for 3,300 days, 7.5 million for 400 days. That's not a long one, but hey, 750,000 for 55555. You know, another for 2,500 days. All of this is slowly adding up. I mean, I know it's not, you know, they're small portions of, you know, 1 billion, which they're 600 and some of, but that added up over time. These coins are slowly coming off of the market, and they are being locked up for a long time. So it's not like they're being locked up like these rolling whale stakes, you know, who are like 30 days, 45 days, 60 days. We all see them on the HEX whale bot or whatever. They're going to keep on happening. But that other supply that is out there, the main supply, the you know, hopefully the ones that are liquid are selling into, that's going into stronger hands in my eyes. And it is a long game. That's why we're staked out. But man, you see how long these stakes that are just clicking by that they're going out for. It makes you feel real good for owning something that's locked up and you don't have to touch.
Wales is back, man.
All right, let me see.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, I had a mic issue. I had to unplug and replug, and when I unplug, it kicks me out of the room for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Oh, good. So yeah, we were just talking liquidity. I don't know how much you heard. But...
Oh yeah. I heard the whole thing. I was there the whole time. Yeah. All right. So what I started with saying was I agree with Pep, and I've said it a million times before. Just like he just said, the market is too young for massive amounts of liquidity. The value isn't inherent in the market for liquidity to be there. You can't pretend to have a market be outsized by its actual holdings. You get what I mean? Like, if there's only 2 billion HEX being held, you can't have 4 billion on the books. Shit is gonna go nowhere, right? And I think, just like he said, we seen the copycat learn that lesson the hard way. So what was done in order to support HEX in its age, right? Because I've said this before a million times, even a tree needs a brace when it's first being planted, right? When it's first growing, even trees need braces. So, even California redwoods. So let's not act like we know what we're talking about when we say shit like that, right? Like, I'm always going to keep it real. And you have to understand how markets work. You cannot have a market be the size of Bitcoin when that market is not there to trade. So the liquidity that everybody wants to see will come with time, right? Because that's how it works. You couldn't trade 100 million in Bitcoin 10 years ago. You couldn't do it. You could not do it, period. It's not debatable. Go look at the blocks. It's right there in your face to see, right? So people have to understand there's a reason we can trade 100,000 HEX back and forth like it's nothing. It's because of the value inherent in the market. That's not a coincidence. That's something for you to take advantage of. So stop crying and do that, because that's what you need to be doing. Seriously. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've never had so much disposable income in my life until I found HEX. I swear to God. I swear to God. I never
I saw
had
you tweet that the other day.
Yeah, it's baffling. It's baffling. It's honestly baffling, because now it's like money just comes out of nowhere. And it's a beautiful thing. So get your T-shares, man. Because if you don't, I'm going to.
Get your T-shares. Right. All right. So we got 10 minutes ish to go till the top of the hour. So I just wanted to, we did this on Friday at happy hour stream. So I think and Johnny Sachs had a great poll today. I'll probably pull that up here in a second, but just wanted to go around the room and maybe start with Randy as to, we'll do a, what you expect to happen with this big stake. And really, like Motley and I have been, joking back and forth about, it could be very well be a non-event. I mean, there's like 14 days, could not, nothing could happen for a long time, weeks in crypto. But, what you think will happen, and say, what's I want to say a fantasy event, but just an event, good or bad, that could rock the HEX world that you could, possibly see happening, whether it be, a big sell or, a FUD moment to where there's a fake out, or, there's so many possibilities. But I'll bring up that Johnny Sachs poll here.
Sure. So I put this up here on purpose. Don't worry, be happy. If you're like me, you just don't give a shit about this stake.
That's right.
I'm not even thinking about it. I'm thinking about it because Cabana told me to think about it. And
it's fun to talk about.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's newsworthy, right? It's a newsworthy event.
It might be one of the last newsworthy events we have for a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a traders event, though.
Yes,
exactly. It's not a stakers event.
Exactly.
So
I agree with that.
I'm not worried about it at all. What do I think could? I don't know what's going to happen in the rest of the year for HEX. I've heard numbers going up to 50 cents, 60 cents. Alan Bittner said $7 at the end of the year. All right, Alan. If it happens, it happens. I don't know. I just don't see us going to the moon by the end of the year. I think we're just going to trend upwards. I did see that Crypto Sniper put out his tweet. Crypto Sniper, he's one of our anarcho-capitalist people, and he's doing something with HEX now. I'm going to chart it out. And he's thinking we can have a 2.5 cent move pretty quick. So check it out.
Cool. I just put it in the chat, Crypto Cabana, if you want to pull it up.
Nice.
I will do that. Motley, what's your read on? Well, I think I already know, but just for discussion's sake.
Well, I hope he's watching right now, and I hope he market sells all of it, and and everyone gets old HEX prices.
Oh, okay, everyone.
Yeah, because I have dry powder standby. But no, I don't think he's going to. Honestly, like Randy said, I don't really care what he's going to do. It's kind of irrelevant to me as a staker. And the way I guess I look at it is what I would do if I had a large stake like that coming out. And I pretty much it would be boring, right? Like I would look at doing a 5-year ladder If I would go to hex.vision, I would look at those empty spots for the next 5 years from 10 to 15. Take advantage of maximizing your share rate. I break it up, 4 of those into 150 million hex stakes, so I get the larger pays better bonus, and then I do 400 million for a Quattro Cinco, and that'd be it. It's boring, but it maintains your essentially whale status within the ecosystem, because I don't think the money is that important to this whale currently, honestly.
Pep, what's
Yeah,
your,
kind of.
what you think?
I've been talking a little bit about it in my streams, and I tend to agree a lot with that as well. And I listened to Silver. I think Silver pretty much nailed it as well on what this guy could do. It really depends on the mentality of the staker. I personally don't care. The guy could bleed out. The guy could try to dump it all, whatever. We'll take advantage of whatever situation plays out. I think you have to look at it from his perspective, too. Assuming this person is even that, they may not even be as interested in this stake as we are. In the community, right? They may be off to doing other things. Maybe they're flipping NFTs. I don't know.
Well, they have a couple weeks to be interested at least.
Yeah, they don't even stake it. They're like,
Yeah. I think there's a fair chance. They have a big tax event already with the end stake coming up, with the interest that they're going to be pulling in. And if they want to do a market dump and trigger another big tax event on themselves, I think that would be counterproductive to their big position. This guy's got that other big stake went out there 10 years already. I think of like 3 times this size.
Right.
So the odds of him restaking, I think, are fairly high. Maybe take some profit, say that interest that was earned, like we always talk about scraping interest, maybe that portion of it, depending on how much that is and what they could dump. But regardless, there's a lot of people already waiting on the sides that if there's a big wick down, it's not going to linger very long. So I really don't have any concerns there. If anything, I would like to maybe seize that opportunity if it happens. But obviously, this person has some deep pockets. They're not going to be the trigger-happy retail or trader mentality that we're used to seeing. I think it's going to be somebody who can play the game a bit differently, like Silver was outlining in your talk with him. If they want to mentally screw with people who have that trading mentality and all their anxiety, he could. Wouldn't bother me because I'm not a trader. I really am indifferent about it. I would only look for maybe some cheaper hex. But I think once this event is over, even if it just stays liquid, the longer it goes on staying liquid, the less concerns there are that it's going to be a huge market dump. Price can still wick up. If he starts to sell off in portions, it'll be tracked it that way. But then again, like anybody else, we've seen it already. With big bag holders, if they want to dump, they'll ration it off. They'll eventually run out of hex and game over. If they want to get back in when they realize that it's not a DOA token and that there's still more headroom, they'll jump back in and just buy less hex or put in more money to get the same bag that they gave away.
I got something on that. That exactly what Pep said. I met a gentleman here this week at Anarchapulco who owned hundreds of millions of hex, and he sold it all right before big payday. Ooh. And now, after my talk with him, he is coming back into the market. So I told him, look, this is not a trader's coin. This is a staker's coin. So I said, stop trading and get back. But he said, look, ever since he sold, he's increased his bags of Ethereum, and he's got tons of Ethereum now. So he's looking at coming back into hex. Just let you guys know that happened this week. I was like, oh yeah, here we go.
Nice. Boomerang comes right back once they see what hex can do. Damn,
that's some crazy shit right there. Yeah.
He sold everyone.
Oh wow!
You only get crazy, one big payday. Oh.
Yeah. All right, so I have the whale stake that we're talking about on the screen. So we got the one that ends here shortly, and then there's one in November, and then it's kind of like a really small one, like halfway through, and then really big one there at the end. So I guess we've mentioned it and talked about it on various streams, but why would you wreck yourself? Now, at the same point, November's a bit a ways away. So if you like what you see and you want more, could you throw a $10 million sell out there and, wick it down 15%, FUD the market, and have everybody jump ship that is weak-handed and liquid, and then you are standing by with a ton of ETH and just send it? It's fun to think about. Another situation, I think Silver brought this up, and he details it out. But what if the selling goes on for an extended period of time, but in small amounts, and it generates more buzz about the actual size of the stake, and it generates more and more worry that, oh, well, they're just silently unloading and it becomes more of a news event over time. So there's plenty of game theory involved here. So yeah, Wales, what do you think?
Well, I agree with you. To start with your dream scenario, I hope this guy, crushes the market. Because, just like Motley said, I got some dry powder on the side, just waiting. Yep. I mean, I'm wishing the person would, please.
Well,
like,
I'm not even joking. To be correct, Motley wants them to basically market sell all of it.
Hey, man, that too.
Make a dream.
Hey, I wouldn't mind picking up a few million HEX myself at zero.
A few misclicks away,
Hey, man. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So please, misclick your life away. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for you. I'm so serious. Again, look, I'm not even joking. I'm finding money I didn't know I had. So, please. I'm not buying. I don't buy anything except HEX. Seriously. The only thing I don't buy, the only time I don't buy HEX is when I want to keep some fiat for future use, and I put that shit in a Coinbase, in my Coinbase account, and some whatever coin I feel like putting it in. It doesn't even matter as long as it's not fiat. I'm happy. But HEX is where all of my money goes. Seriously, all of it. It's insane. It's insane.
What's high
big dogs in the house? Big dogs in the house.
Yeah, that's right. He's always in the house, man.
While we have this chart up with this whale stakes, everyone feel free to look. And so when you're going to do your stakes, you're doing a staking ladder, really go to hex.vision and look at where everyone else is staked when you're placing your stakes, when there's going to be a low supply on the market. I know Kareem and Wales are probably responsible for getting a large portion of you guys to FOMO into these Cuatro Cinco stakes, which are amazing, and there's a lot of money to be made out there. But I think a lot of Hexicans undervalue that year 5 to 10 mark, because there really isn't much of a supply out there. So there's nothing wrong with continuing to build those rungs to your ladder. And I think when we get out to those years and HEX has really had a chance to mature, grow, probably bring in a lot of larger investors, you'll be very happy with those gains that you make between those 5 and 10 year mark. I think it's a kind of a window that gets overlooked as far as getting from that average to the maximum amount of your shares. But I think it's a smart window to put a few rungs in there as well. While we just had this up. I was just thinking about it. Not to throw shade your way, Wales, but you and Green.
No.
You and Green start hyping everyone up.
I don't take it that way, brother. Here's the thing, right? I don't take it that way. The way I deliver that is by just getting the message across that, a T-share is a money printer. So that's what, I want people to understand what they're doing. That's all.
Yep.
You got to do it
as long as you're comfortable with.
Exactly. You got to do what you got to do, but understand what you're doing. That's all. Because at the end of the day, every decision you make is your own. But you have to have all the right information to make it. And that's my objective. All I want is for people to understand what they're doing. I know what I'm doing, so I'm only going to 4x5. I'm not worried about it. There you go. Because again, I understand, right? And if you I don't get me wrong, I fucked up many stakes. So I have a bunch of short stakes too. Right, and I think the smallest stake I have is maybe 4,000. No, I got 2,000 HEX staked 3-4 years out. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I didn't even understand a T-share. I think those might be half or a third of a T-share. That shit is embarrassing when I look at it. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck is this?
A lot of us would go back and fix it.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Sure.
Oh, I know. I mean, I think we all swap these stories. Right? Because that's a sign of growth, man. And that's the beauty behind HEX. It helps everybody really elevate their game, because if you're people really don't understand, man. The level of APY you're getting here, even if you're staking for 1 year, is not found anywhere on the planet. This shit is not a game. It's really, really not a game. So even if you're at, 1 year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever, anything less than 15, you're still beating the whole entire world. System. And this is, and this is my message, right? Of course, 4x5 is the best option naturally, because time is your friend when it comes to this. Because imagine if you bought Bitcoin at 0 and you were just sleeping for 15 years. I mean, it's at 60 now. Where the fuck is it going to be in 2026? Right? It's probably going to be at 250K. Who fucking knows? but it's insane to think about. And the thing about it is that HEX actually provides an economic value. Like nothing else does that. I'm sorry. Like everything else is literally a projection of what it could be, not what it is. And people don't get that. So this is why I don't waste my time looking at projects. Like they're cool, they're fun, but I'm not putting any serious money in that.
All
and that's
speculation on
air. Exactly. And speculation is speculation. So make sure you allocate capital accordingly. But with HEX, it's not speculation. This is legit zero risk money printing endeavor.
Yep.
End of discussion.
100%.
Yeah, we're just taking a look at a bunch of the staking strategies in chat, and I love seeing it because everybody's long-term minded, and that's so cool.
This is good.
While I'm looking at that, welcome, Big Kurk. Were you not on daylight savings time?
we don't do daylight savings time here in Puerto Rico, and I forgot that y'all stopped today. So,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
that's
why he's late.
Cracking my hand, ready to go, and I was like, "Wait a minute!"
Convenient excuse.
No, I was.
No, I know.
I'm willing and able an hour ago. I was just sticking around, not even aware. Just
all good, man. So we just went around the room and. I was saying you missed happy hour on Friday. So I said that there, and I'll say it here. I'll put it around the room. So this stake that could come out within the next couple weeks, whatever. What do you think really will happen? What's your, say your, Big Kurk crystal ball projection? And I know we've tossed around a couple times some what ifs, whether it be in the green room or on stream. But what's one big what if they'd be like, holy crap, man, that would just be insane, but it's possible. So.
That they sell. That would be the craziest thing.
We all want it. We all want it.
Everybody wants that.
Everybody wants it. Everybody wants it.
I mean, I don't want it, man.
I do.
I'm not.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the chart.
I'm greedy.
I like the chart. The chart.
The chart will be all right because it's going to be a major wick. Don't get that shit twisted.
All right.
Don't think it's going to stay there. It's not going to stay there. You kidding me? What?
This stream will have to go on an intermission real quick because I'm gonna have to go make some buys.
I got my window. I'm locked and loaded.
Yeah, I'm about to go grab my laptop. Honestly,
where'd Big Pep go?
I was just
about to say, I'll just be looking at this one. Yeah.
Got my window orders open.
Quick trigger figures. Let's go.
Yeah, got my order windows open. Yeah,
I think that if they sold it all down, it would be the silliest thing I'd ever seen in the world. Like so if the market sold it down, it would just be ridiculous, ridiculously dumb for them. So I doubt that that's going to happen, and I doubt that they're even going to sell it all. But I mean, if they did, and they made the price chart look nasty for a bit, I mean, you figure that like in the past month we've had over 300 million coins worth of buy or of sell pressure absorbed, So like could we handle 1.5 billion coins eventually? You're right. We would look like a wick, but it would only look like a wick on the monthly chart, which is all that really fucking matters.
Yeah. And we had that wick way back there at Big Payday, which I'm drawn back to too. So I mean that didn't mean anything long term.
No, that's true. That's true. That is the most surprising thing of all, really, like in HEX in general, is how little how little that went down and for how short a time, overall. I feel like it's like, so whatever happens with this, I won't be that affected by, won't be that surprised. And I figure that, in general, even if they sold it all, 1.7 some odd billion coins, I mean, that's literally 2 days of, 2-3 days of adoption amplifier pressure, that we dealt with for, a year, so it is what it is. I'm not worried about it. That could be the craziest thing that could happen is that they sell. The more likely thing is that they restake. I mean, and I think that there's more interesting game theory to talk about in how they restake than there is in whether or not they sell, because I think that restaking is a more interesting principle for them. Are they going to restake all of it? What's the point of restaking all of it all at once? What was the point in the first place? It would have been better if they had staked it out on like 150 million coin stakes, for several years, like, laddered out. That's what I would say if it was in my hands, in my control. That's what I would do if I were them, is ladder out about, every other year or something like that, 150 million coins. What they get, like 10 of them or something like that. So that, I mean, but I don't think it'll happen. But who knows? Well, now we wait and see, huh?
Yeah, and I'll just turn some math over to the chat here. So this is courtesy Patrick Hex Lion, Crypto Sparbuk. So the stake started on day 104, if I'm reading it right. It ends day 469. Hey, some of that Yash Deep me math, as that Hex wallet has 469, 320. I'm sorry, 420, 69 in it. Principal was 1.37 billion. T shares 175,864. Accrued interest,
Awesome.
900 million hex. So the current value in hex is close to 2.3 billion.
Okay, so 2.3. So I was off when I was thinking. So that's okay. That's 3 days of the adoption amplifier. It's still not that big of a deal. I do think that it would hurt the price, for sure in the short term. But you're right.
That'd be like 4.5, wouldn't it?
Well, remember when Richard had said that like each day of the adoption amplifier is actually like almost 1 billion coins, because when you account for penalties and when you account for the bonuses and everything else, it's like just shy of 1 billion.
Gotcha.
I like lights out comment. 3 Arrows is probably watching this, laughing their asses off. Everyone's waiting for what we do next.
That's right.
So is it officially out because we're on day 469, or is it?
Do we switch? Oh, I didn't even notice that. We've already.
Yeah, we have switched over. So. I'm watching it like a hawk, man. I'm watching all the alerts and stuff, but I'm not expecting anything. But again, it is awesome to talk about, and we've had like just an awesome freaking.
Hey, look, Hexline was right. Not a single change in the share price, which we all figured.
Yeah, the share price wouldn't change. So that's the thing, is it won't change.
It can't change yet, right?
Until they unstake it.
Yeah.
And
the
day that they unstake it
first.
Yeah, they have to end stake. And when they unstake it, the day that they unstake it, it matters. The system looks at if you were the highest ROI participant that particular day. So nobody that has an earlier than 104-day stake, can be unstaking that day, because then they wouldn't have the highest ROI on that system. Even if it's a small stake that unstakes, there by the percentage, it would have they will be 10% higher. If it was like the same, the same day, then they would have 10% higher ROI because of their bigger pays better bonus. But that's it. So highly unlikely that they will actually even be the one to push up that share price on the day that they do.
Yeah, day one staker, much more likely.
Yep.
He might have to dump enough to pay for his Beeple. Might be the only thing.
For sure. He's got to set the new record for most expensive NFT purchased.
Exactly.
That shit's such a racket too. Like that, like the whole I don't know if we talked about the whole game behind that, but like whoever bought that we did
a little bit before you were here. Keep going. So sorry.
The B20 shit and everything. Y'all talked about that, the coin. No. Okay, so what's going on with that is they fucking made a coin that's a fractionalized coin of that artwork. So they bought the collection, and then this B20 coin is if you buy a coin of that shit, then you're getting a fucking 1 millionth ownership, quote unquote, of the fucking of that Beeple collection. So that somebody in their crew that knew what the hell was going on bought that shit to pump that fucking price to make that happen, because they already had the token ready to launch and was that the thing. So the token went from worth 30 cents a piece to what is it now? It's $20 something a piece. Because because on the speculation that they bought that fucking collection for as much as they did to add to the token holdings. So like now that token holding owns, like if you own a piece of that token, you own something like almost $100 million, part of the $100 million worth of Beeple collection that they own.
Yeah.
So like
I was completely clueless to that, but when something sells for $70 million, that's an NFT. I can guarantee you there's backyard deals going on.
Shenanigans.
Hell yeah.
100%.
Hell yeah. That shit is
need to know
100% marketing. And my shit might not even trade for real.
Yeah, I mean, no, you can get that B20 coin or whatever on fucking, on exchanges and shit, but they want people to buy in for that hype shit. And it's, I mean, and then
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's stupid. Don't buy it. Don't buy it, people, please. Shouldn't have even talked about it.
I don't think anyone here is going to be aping into that shit.
Guys, I know a bunch of us own ZK swaps, or I don't know how many of you guys on here own ZK swaps still, but they're doing the same thing. You stake your ZK swaps, and they have some big NFT stuff where we own a portion of some NFTs. So, I think it's gonna be a new marketing ploy out there.
Yeah, for sure. People are using those NFTs. I mean, there's a bunch of coins that I've seen that use those NFTs for, whatever, like the liquidity mining and in that sandbox game that, if you own land or whatever, you get more percent higher multiplier shit. They're just ways to get you to buy their shit. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I get what they're doing. I get the marketing behind it. I mean, I just don't want to play
ZK
that.
swap was like the first time I didn't claim an airdrop. I sold like literally right before the airdrop went through, which turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just like, do I want to take my sure money now, or do I want to take the chance of just straight death after the airdrop? And I was just like, I'm going to take my money now, and it paid off.
I kept 30%, so I still made.
Okay. But I know your position was much earlier than mine. And again, right, like it just goes back to like trading games and trying to predict. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Now you can earn 40% yield just by staking your coins. It's just fun to dabble in.
Yeah, I'm just monitoring the wires here. So small stakes of only 25 million and 10 million have ended. Only.
Tiny stakes.
But it was interesting that we've been watching the total, and it grew from like 1.4 to like 1.47 total hex that were staked on this day. So a lot of big stakes that were rolling over. I don't know if they just don't even look at hex.vision. They just put it on this day for whatever reason. So they're ending stakes, and I'm betting just based upon their behavior because they're so short that they'll probably restake. But that's what I'm seeing so far. What's up, Hex Mac? How you doing? So, yeah.
What a great event, Cabana.
Hey man, newsworthy. Now watch. I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm telling you what's going to happen is we're going to go off the air in a little bit, maybe, I don't know, whatever time we choose, 9 o'clock, whatever. Mm-hmm. And shit's going to go down then.
You want to put a hex bet on it? Get some DJing going on?
No, but all right. So that's another interesting dynamic to this. So, I mean, obviously within the next couple weeks, something definitely should happen if this entity is a smart one. So, what do we think, is going to be within 24 hours, this next few days, a week, going to draw it out to 2 weeks? Any theories on that?
Place your bets now.
Yeah. Yep. Well, what do you think? Is there any strategy here that you could see? I mean, obviously it's just all speculation and fun.
Make us sweat. I'm saying make us sweat.
Johnny just said you can't do a 14-day stream.
That's good. That's good.
That's fun.
I mean, if we
breaking records.
Try.
Yeah, let's do it.
They might be off doing other things, and this isn't even on their mind, and they may not even recall this until a few days. But assuming they're watching, they're moving right now, and they could just do games to make people sweat. They might be listening to all of us and getting a kick out of this, because we're just trying to read their mind. I mean, I guess honestly, only they know what they're going to do. If anything, if they're not paying attention, it might just start bleeding out. This could be one of those things that, again, it depends. They obviously have money probably elsewhere too. So they might be preoccupied with other things. It's easy to lose track of time, with Hex if they don't have a reminder on their phone or something about this. I would assume with a stake this size, they do. but they might not be rushing to the computer. Now, I'd give them 48 hours. If they don't move in 48 hours or at least end the stake, then I think they're either they're just not paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, you got to figure if they are 3 Arrows dudes, and what are they based out of Singapore? So then this would be what, Monday morning? You know, that they'd be have the opportunity. So I mean, if they're back in the office hanging out, thinking about, is it time to stake? Is it not? What are we doing?
It's like what the Sapper said earlier. It's like the 3 Arrows Capital guys aren't at work, are late for work right now. They're not at work, essentially.
Yeah.
Where are they based out of? They're Asia, aren't they?
Asia,
Singapore.
Yeah, so it's probably like morning there. They're getting to work, you know?
That's what I was saying.
Give them time, guys. Gosh.
Yeah. Like it's only been 19 minutes. So, you know.
Hey guys, you know, I'm gonna have to pull out because I'm just so fucking tired after a week of partying. But
hey, don't forget to tell them about the orphans that you took care of today.
You know, look at my eyes. I'm all confused. But I did have my presentation the other day, and my last slide of my presentation was my wife wearing her HEX glasses and me wearing my HEX t-shirt on the beach. And I said, I don't care what anybody says. Oh, you guys got it. Cool.
Boom,
Hey man, I come prepared, brother.
Yeah, and I said, I don't care what anybody says here at Anarchapulco. HEX is our favorite crypto. And I did have the 2 people come up to me after the talk, said, "Oh my God, you're in HEX! It's amazing." I'm like, dude, you don't know I'm in.
How they not know?
Come on, where have you been? so yeah, that was really cool of all the people, and you know, they enjoyed it. So, but guys, dude, I feel like shit. I really do.
Hey, can I ask you one question for you, Gal?
Yeah.
All right, so you you know, any other feedback while you were there in Anarchapulco? I mean, I'm assuming that you mentioned it more than just the T-shirt, and I think you said in either Telegram or on Twitter that you mentioned it was your favorite or one of your favorites. Any other feedback before you go that you had?
Well, some of the other team that I've had arguments with in the past kind of avoided me during the event.
Oh,
but that's life, man. That's life. What can you do?
Yeah.
Jeff doesn't avoid me, obviously, because Jeff and I are friends, but the other team members, they didn't talk to me too much. Hey, that's cool. No problem.
They'll want to talk to you in a few years, probably, I bet, right?
Regret that.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, guys, but I got to go rest.
All good,
Thanks
man.
for coming on, Randy.
Thank you, Randy.
And young people out there, don't drink too much.
It's bad for you.
Bad for
Wait,
you.
show them your stripper mask
Water.
before you go.
Oh yeah. These are the masks. These are the masks we were giving out at Anarchapulco.
They're boobs.
They're like totally see through. So, and there's no restriction of breath, so that's pretty amazing. But when you're wearing them, you can't tell you're wearing it. It's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
I won't say how we got it though. We discussed it before. All right, cheers, everyone. Thank you.
Later.
Thank you, Randy.
Bye.
Oh yeah. So hey, Kurk, while we wait for anything to happen or not, which again, no expectations here, but it was a fun event to watch the rollover. But I did have this at the top of the agenda for the opening chat for Puerto Rico statehood. We chatted about it recently, not with you on stream, but just curious as to your take of what you view the odds are, since you're obviously close to the situation, and how that could affect things going forward. What's the likelihood? What's your feels there?
I mean, I think the percentage of it happening is higher than it's ever been. But let's also put that into qualification. Like, it still ain't very high. It still ain't very high.
Okay.
I don't really think. Yes, I mean, this is exactly your issue that you're going to get into. Is it's polarizing within their own party. So like they've got a majority in both parties, or in both House and Senate. But like, I mean, their majority is slim in the Senate, and you need to actually have more people in, like, you need to have like 2/3 or something like that, or 3/4. I can't remember what it is to like vote in statehood. So like, I just don't. If they can't get their whole party in line, then it's not going to happen. And I don't think it's going to happen regardless. But like, that being said, it's closer now. Like Politico or whatever predicted, .com would have this higher percentage than it's ever been. But I mean, what, from 2 to 1 or 1 to 2%, you know, something like that. I mean, not high chances.
Yeah, I think I was talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, like there was a referendum in November where it was like 52-48 in favor of statehood. Is that right?
Yeah, so it was a referendum, you know, that was in Puerto Rico that they voted on, but, you know, it's non-binding, and it's just like, hey, we'd like to maybe do this, you know.
Kind of like a statement kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't actually, I mean, they don't have any vote, like, say in Congress, so they wouldn't, I mean, it wouldn't, they're just like, hey, guys, we maybe like this kind of. But, I mean, again, and in those situations, 52-48 is just, I mean, it's been the other way for a long time, you know. So I mean, I don't think that's enough. I think that you need to have some overwhelming, you know, it's like 60+% of people need to start to feel that way, and I just don't think they have the numbers.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm just seeing something funny chat because I think Kevin Fu is over there near the office of 3 Arrows. Hey, walk over and say what's up.
Hey,
Stay in front of 3 Arrows building and blast the song "Baby Don't Hurt Me."
Sit there with a boombox outside.
Oh, that was fun.
Oh man. All right, so had some other questions to chat. I'm just going back and trying to catch up on while we tie up some loose ends here. So encapsulated hex, I know I think Motley's perhaps commented and offered some very good viewpoints on, but Pep, I'm just curious for those who may or may not have seen your streams, if you could speak on this situation, kind of like the hex scale, I guess, or tradable HEXbay. I'm sorry. Do you have thoughts on that? And I guess I don't even know how to describe it, but tradable stakes and encapsulating it.
Honestly, I haven't looked deeply into that whole situation. I mean, what the concept would be. It's intriguing. I think it would be successful because now you have another option with your stakes, right? So options are power and everything, and that might make people feel even a little less skittish about opening up the long stakes. I think that's where people probably have the most anxiety when they commit to that, especially anything over 5 years. And when you get to the 10 to 15 year range, it usually tapers off a lot. But if you have those encapsulated stakes, maybe, depending on how it all worked with trading it around, not really sure. I guess that'd all be up to taken care of in the code. But as long as it was a stable situation, and I could see people, definitely selling a position like that. That might actually bring more people even into the platform, because it's another utility in the game theory, right? It's another component in that respect.
I was thinking about have y'all, I know I'm late to the party here, have we chatted about the idea of our own blockchain yet?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit at the beginning, but you weren't around on Friday. I think Coffee and Kareem spoke a bit on it, but I'd be very curious as to your take on that.
I think the most difficult and worrisome part of it is the difficulty in going to your own blockchain leaves you open for a lack of a marketing point, in that, like 100% uptime is something that's awesome for us to say. We've never had a problem. But in the future, like running your own blockchain, even a federated system, is difficult, very difficult. And, like it's not guaranteed to have no problems whatsoever, and you lose some of the like Hex is like a finished product thing, because in like a component like that, you'd have some work being done in the future, you'd assume, especially if something bad happened or whatever. Or, I mean, block producers in general are doing work. So that's like my negative takes on it, like dangers, but the other great thing is the ability of what you can do in the future with Hex going forward would be, and the lack of like tie to any other, like we would truly be able to, if you have atomic cross swaps, being a thing you'd be able to be on your own, and have a lot of benefits to that. We wouldn't be tied to these fees. I think there'd be a ton of benefits to it. I think there's a ton of benefits to it. I mean, there's a few things to be careful and wary of. But I'm tentatively a fan. I'm tentatively a big fan. I think that it's a cool idea. Now again, I don't think it's like a rush to market kind of thing. Like you literally take a year and a half to figure that shit out. Not that you have to, but so I'm down with it. I like it. I think it'd be cool.
So what do you think about Michael Hex saying you could use Theta as an example for this scenario? So that means that we could have a Hex token and a Hex gas token?
I mean, you could do something like that. I mean, Ethereum just solves it with smaller amounts of itself. I mean, that's the fee structure. That's an interesting thought. I imagine that you'd that's something that could be toyed with and talked about. That we would have to talk. That's why it would take a while to figure this out, because you want the fee structure to be something that I think that would make we all are clamoring for this EIP 1559 shit. So some sort of deflationary fee structure is a pretty cool idea, especially in a system that we know at current rate has never-ending inflation right now. We do have that index, which is fine. I get that there's a reason for us to, on the one side, always have inflation, for meat to be on the bones, for new people to come to the party. I get all that. But to be Ethereum's deemed that it's actually that they were the same way, and they've deemed that it's also better to, on the back end, on the transaction side, to remove coins from circulation through burning and as part of the fee structure, which is something that we haven't actually seen in practice yet. So we'll have to keep our eyes on it and see what happens. But something I'm into, that could be part of the fee structure. Block validators would have to get some sort of bonus or benefit for doing the work that they do, because whoever the validators are going to have to, at the very minimum, are going to have a server running somewhere, that's going to have to, have redundant internet or something. There's going to be some costs involved in that. So they should get some sort of benefit. Now, I do like also the idea of giving those the ability to be block producers to all the top stakers, as they with the highest T-share rates on some sort of cycling basis, because they would be the ones that have the highest investment in the network to make incentivized to be able to do the job. I think, like I said, there's so many fucking moving parts to talk about that each of those subjects, honestly, I could literally fucking sit here and talk for an hour on all those. Given enough time, once I formulate the shit in my mind, we could talk about all that stuff for a while. We probably will, because it's that's the game theory on it is different to some degree. A lot of it's the same, but there's new elements to it that you have to be very careful about, keeping the scarcity what it is, and keeping and possibly and hopefully increasing and helping that along the way. But if done correctly, now this is some fucking stupid moon math shit coming out of my mouth, but multi-dollar hex could be a lot sooner than you think, if done correctly, you could be done I could see that happening before this even before it even launches, that I could see it being a thing. Now that's, again, some starry-eyed moon stuff, but you see how the hype cycles work around projects that are able to successfully launch an idea and convert that idea into tangible goods. And we already have a track record of that's already been done, So now doing the next phase of it is that's going to, if they're doing that, if that's something that's in the works, then it's probably gonna happen. If it's being talked about, it's probably, and that would be, very bullish, very, very, very bullish.
Gotcha. So I'm just, again, going back and chat and trying to get some of these best ideas here and some of the things that we talked about. And I think this was actually something that was mentioned earlier. I wish Randy was here because he would have been part of this, but just to go around the room, the concept was brought up. If you could turn back time, like Cher, how would you change your staking strategy if you even would? I'll just go first. I think I'm a little more front loaded than I would be now if I had started staking and getting more comfortable and just understanding the raw power of staking out with size. I'm very comfortable with where I'm at, but maybe laddering a little less on the front end. Not that I'm like so lopsided or anything like that, but just putting a little more to the back end. Say those last 8 to 15 years, something like that. But is there anything? I'll just go around the room, Motley and then Pep, and around the room. Just something different that you might do, knowing what you know now.
So if I could go back in time, I'd buy more HEX for starters. If we're going back in time, might as well pick up some more, like everything. And but no, seriously, as far as the staking strategy goes, luckily I was able to rectify, just like you. I was front heavy around the 2 to 3 year mark initially, just because I had to kind of adjust my mind state of how crypto cycles worked and just where I foresaw, even though I believed in HEX 100%, transferred everything over to Bitcoin, got it for the snapshot, put it all into HEX.
Same.
I still, it's still the unknown, right? So like I weighted my my staking ladder heavy in the beginning. I still went all the way out to Quattro Cinco, but I was heavy in the beginning. Luckily, I was able to rectify that to present day using the emergency end stake function. So that was nice. Got my average out to about 11 years now. The only correction I would make now, if I could go back in time, is I do have monthly stakes, and they're still a decent size monthly stakes, so I'm not too worried about it. But I would definitely consolidate, make them larger, and I'd probably look more at something around quarterly to biannually as far as staking goes. Again, I know it's kind of a concern now with gas fees. I don't think it will be even a blip on the radar within a year or two. But I would still just consolidate those smaller monthly stakes to quarterly or biannually. That's the only thing I really change at this point.
Cool. Pep, is there anything that you would change?
Other than just like you guys being a little bit front heavy, maybe push a little bit more back on the backside. There's a few stakes I would redo and not stake smaller amounts. I wouldn't have any stakes less than 100,000 HEX. And I don't have many that are. But there was a few spots where I got a little creative, because gas was so cheap. I'm like, let me try a couple little, different scenarios here. Yeah, so
I am so there with you, and I think many people are, man.
A lot of people. There was people doing like stakes on a daily basis for a while. I remember some of their ladders coming out weekly or daily for like 6 months. So I was like, back then, sure, it made sense, right? It was like 10 cents a transaction. Now, yeah, so that's probably the one thing I would consolidate. Probably some stakes in the earlier years too, even if I kept them in the time frame that they're in, instead of maybe 2 in the year, I might just consolidate it to 1. I had dates picked in for various reasons, but most of it would be that the size of the stakes and maybe some more back end loading. And of course, like Miley said, buy more.
Buy more. Yeah, if we're going back in time,
that's my biggest
might as well take advantage.
Yeah.
Kurk, anything that you would, if you could turn back time, as HEXmac wants me to do karaoke. Maybe that's the next segment on Happy Hour that we will develop. But
not if you want to lose subscribers.
That'd be a little rough. So only HEXmac would be the remaining subscriber. But anything that you would do different, Kurk?
I would. You hit on most of them. I would have not done monthly stakes that I did early on. I had one wallet that I did monthly stakes out, and I was okay, cool. Now I have a job. Awesome. That was what I was trying to. That's what I was going against. But I mean, so that would be one thing. Second would be the 5 to 10 year, or the 10 to 15 year marks. Like I'm very heavy in the 5 to 10 year mark, and a bunch of stuff out at the 15, like the continue, like for the past, from the beginning until now, 15 to, I guess now year 14 years now till 15 and a half years like that. I'm super heavy in, but for some reason I didn't do that. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is about everybody's mindset or whatever, but like that area is just a lot less populated somehow. Like I could see out to forever, but I could see to 1 to 10 years, but I just like 10 to 15 seemed strange. So I've got stakes there, but not as much as I would have done. I'd probably do more of that there. Maybe that's something to think about. But yeah, other than that, no, I'm very happy with my stuff. I mean, I would definitely do biannually or something like that if I had a chance to. That's what I say now. Don't bother with monthly.
Before Wales goes, can I say real quick that Richard fucked me up at because so in the beginning, right? Like everyone's learning about Hex and learning about the system, and even Richard didn't realize some of the features that just kind of came out of Hex organically. But so like obviously I was following all his information and learning as we go, like most Hexicans were. And I remember one stream like clears to this day where he was on stream. It's just like, yeah, I don't really know. We put the option to stake out to 15 years, but it's like I really don't know why anyone would stake out 15 years. And man, so like I went heavy on 10. And then, like, I still made a couple speculative ones out past that. But, man, Richard really fucked me on that one. So, like, I'm sure I'll still be very happy 10 years down the road. But I got a couple very large positions at the 10-year mark because after that stream, I was just like, well, I just guess I'll listen to the man that built the damn project. And then he's like, and then like it was like a stream or two later, he's like, guys, I might have fucked up on that. So Dev Kyle explained to me where it might be kind of reasonable to keep those T shares in the system longer past the 10-year mark. I was like, everyone else kind of learned at the same point, including the founder of the token. So I was just like, thanks, Richard.
I mean, I felt
That's
felt
hilarious.
super silly from FOMOing so hard on day one. So like I know he had said that, but I just did 15-year stakes anyways because the other thing he said was go as long as you can, as much as you can. So I remember him saying that. I was like, as long as I can, as much as I can. So I just took everything that I like FOMO'd in from like the first couple of days, and it was like 15 years. So like my day 3 stake is a bunch of coins for 50. I mean,
I still did, just heavier on 10 after he made that comment. Then I had to wait 2 or 3 streams for him to correct himself later.
I want to get to Wales too. His anything that you would change. But first, Wales, we had a question for you in particular. Wales, are you still standing by your target?
Yeah, sure.
$10.
Yeah.
All right. See, there you have it. Done. All right. He said yes.
No worries on the chit chat too in between. I'm not special.
No, all good. It's your turn anyway. So, is there anything that you would do?
Oh man, I'd have to agree with all of you guys and say get more Hex. I wasn't even around for the early days. I literally found out about this like 100 days ago.
Right, so. And that's why I was hesitant a little bit because I was like, all right, well, your window is a little shorter, but
yeah, it's way shorter. So, I mean, I would, if I could travel back in time, I would literally travel back in time to January 4th to make sure my trigger finger was ready for January 5th low, and do it all, do it all there and then, because that was the cheapest point in time for Hex as well as T shares.
Yep,
that was the day. So that's the day I would go back to. I would, I mean, and the crazy thing is that with probably $1,000, you could just be done because you could acquire so many T shares with $1,000 at that point in time. I think they were like 60 cents or some crazy number like that at that point.
Yeah, it's like $1.60 or something.
Yeah, something ridiculous. Yep. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, you can easily pick up 1,000 T shares at that point. Is the point, and that was nothing. And with that, you can do so much. Because with 10 T shares, you can do a whole lot, right? So it's keeping those kind of things in perspective that, man, it makes it like a piece of advice, Motley, don't do the math once those years takes in. Once you get to year 15.
I have. Don't you worry.
Oh, my God. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I'm sorry.
You can't
restate them.
You can't help but do the math.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, a couple more comments in chat. So this is a long-term one, in my view, but Info says suggestion is good to do and good PR when possible. If possible, it would be nice to start to hear about Hexicans doing some charity stuff. I know we aren't wealthy yet, but soon. Hey, man, it's on. If you watch a lot of our streams, especially Big Kurk, Kinetics, Vince. It's there, man. It's on our minds, and it's going to happen. So it's in the works, absolutely.
Randy helped the orphans out. You guys didn't hear it because we're talking about in the green room, but he helped feed the orphans today. Where after 3 days of belligerent partying, he went and helped feed the orphans. So Hexicans are giving back.
in every way possible.
Yep. Having a good time while doing it.
That's too funny.
Day 33. All right, so now we're like throwing out predictions in the chat. So Chaotic says 60 cents. Oh, it's, day 34. Okay, so
Oh, 60 cents. Yep.
yeah, we're looking back. So, all right. What else do I have on the list here?
Oh,
Go.
so did you see that? I saw this in the Hex memes chat today. That token that airdropped everybody who owned NFTs, the paint token thing. I don't know if you've heard of that, but if you go to their mural.art, you go to their site and you hit their live paint view, some Hexican put the Hex logo and paid a bunch of money to put the Hex logo.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's what I'm checking out.
Can you pull up the link and send it to Cabana or share?
Yeah, here it's mural. M-U-R.
I love Hexicans. our tentacles just go out everywhere.
Who would have thought of that? Oh, so let me tell you guys what a Hexican has looped me into.
Well, and you know it's even great. It's even fun.
After Big K, I'll talk about it. But go ahead, Big K, because this is actually...
So somebody also added that. So of course, when you make an NFT of that, and so somebody listed it on OpenSea for 3.69 ETH. If you want to buy the Hex logo from this thing,
or screenshot it, your choice.
Or you can just screenshot it.
What were you saying, Wells? Only?
Oh yeah, go on.
Oh, if you're done, yeah. So what I'm into, I mean, this is kind of crazy. And Motley, I think you're in that chat we're in, talking about this upland game.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. So check this out, guys. So this guy, he has and I think most people know him. He has a Telegram store, Hut Crypto, Hut _ Crypto is it? Let me see what the name of it is. Yeah, it's Hut Crypto. Just t.me /Hut Crypto. And the gentleman's a Hexican, and what he's doing is he's going into this game, and he's a property developer out there in the UK. And what he has like all this knowledge that I have none of, and he's being kind enough to educate me in the metaverse, right? Because this game called Upland is basically the metaverse, and this game, what it does is that it outlines real block and lot, actual parcels of land, which you can buy in this game. And it's like it's as old as Hex. It's not really old at all. The game, it's not old. I think it's like 15, 16 months old. So it's just as new as Hex. And the cool thing about it is that it is a project that's not a finished product, but what's already in existence is amazing. Because what's there is so bare, but it's beautiful because what could be built on it is crazy. And it has links that takes you into these addresses because you're buying a physical, real estate address, right? A real block and lot, but in a video game, right? Like in a virtual world, right?
It's Decentraland meets Monopoly, essentially.
Right. It's Monopoly on a blockchain, correct?
Yep.
And you earn a rate of return on an hourly basis, and you get paid out every 3 hours. So this is like an actual investment, right? And if you learn the game well enough, you can make some serious quick cash flipping these properties, because if you learn how to mint them, then you're getting crazy yield that, it allows you to sell at a crazy markup and still entice a buyer.
It's like
right?
is it like an ETH game, or is it on what?
It's on EOS blockchain.
That's the only downside of it.
Yeah, that's the only downside. I don't know anything about that shit, to be honest. Yeah, this is the only drawback. I don't know anything about EOS blockchain, but this game is crazy. It's addictive as fuck because I don't play video games, but I've always liked real estate, so this is gonna attract people, like no doubt about it. It's gonna definitely.
It's addictive. I showed it to Luke and the Crypto, and I were talking about it one day, and he started diving into it, and he was hooked in like a few seconds. It's really cool. We're looking at like buying airports because like you have to actually travel to actually buy the property. There's a lot of fun, like just
there's a lot of nuances to the game for sure.
Yeah. So it's just like, and they're opening up new patches of the world. So like if you buy an airport, you probably have a lot more income coming in if you can buy a large airport.
So that cat that you just pulled up. It looks like somebody has paid, like, if you go look through the history of this shit, somebody has paid to re-put that cat up there like fucking like 8 times or something like that. And the amount of paint and gas fees that it costs to put that cat up there is like thousands of dollars, dog. It's like $2,000 or something like that to repost that cat. And every time some asshole puts something over that cat, like their own logo or whatever the hell, some whale comes along and just decides to dump another, it's like the cat is called like, I'll never forget you, Mia, or something like that. It's like some dead cat of theirs or
That's
something.
hilarious.
So yeah,
This is a top sign if I ever saw one. This is
and I
scary.
love the hex.com literally over the cat's head too.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody tried to sabotage it there.
Yeah, I see that.
Do they really need a stimulus package?
Yeah, that's what people are wasting their stimulus package on. Is fucking-
I mean, if the government wants to freaking nerf our money, then we're just gonna send it into a digital world, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought the draw to spray painting graffiti was that it was like free and shit, and it was like now you gotta pay like top dollar for it.
Is there like a deadline for this when it closes? And then
Oh no, so they only created like I read the little light paper for it. They created like 21 million of these or 21 billion of these tokens. So you can only repaint over this board 21,000 times. Like
That's it.
before it's all before like all the tokens are before
so
all the
it's like the
tokens are
person
gone.
waiting there with their token to put the last image in or something.
So I don't know who I don't know,
Like
but
eBay
also,
sniping.
But don't forget that like this is not a very super well contracted or worked on contract. So they're working on putting it on layer 2 or something
Obviously.
because the cat like I said the gas it costs like 20,000 or 100,000 paint token or whatever the fuck it does. I don't know, but the gas fees to do it is like 3 times what the cost of the paint token is. It's like hundreds of dollars in gas fees to put anything on this fucking wall. So, I mean, cool. I guess.
This is what happens when everybody works from home.
This is the top
Yeah, that's
too.
for sure.
This would normally be a top indicator.
This is
No way.
working from home
No way.
right
No
here.
way. We're not near the top. Once we've gone through all this paint token and somebody like the last
That's the
person,
top.
when somebody's paying like $60 million to repost their cat on this bitch, then we're at the top.
All right, so here's like another concept. So everybody talks alt season. It's like, oh well, I think it's kind of like tunnel vision to where, or recency bias rather. That last cycle we had Bitcoin, and then everyone once it got tired of Bitcoin, alts pumped after that. So everybody's expecting, I guess, the same thing, or at least from what I've been reading, it's like, okay, well, Bitcoin keeps going up, and eventually, once we start to top in Bitcoin, that money could go to alts, and then finally that's the alt season. But what if this cycle NFTs are the alt season? So this is where the silly money is going. This is what we're seeing kind of in real time. And yeah, some alts will go up, maybe the quality ones, but does anybody in this panel think, hey, this could be this cycle's version of the alt season, to where money is tossed at this silly stuff that we're seeing on the screen right now, kind of like some of those projects were back in 2017 were getting pumped for no reason. What's any reads on that? Because I think that could be kind of a valid hypothesis.
That's a good observation, and I think it goes to show you that we really haven't had that real retail adoption this cycle. It's just these big company investors, because right now their sole focus is getting their bags of Bitcoin lined up. So they haven't delved enough into the space to start looking at some of the altcoins as other entry points. So we're really not seeing as much money go into those other altcoins like you normally would during a cycle. So maybe the retail people are FOMOing into NFTs. I mean, that's what my no coiners are coming to me. A lot of them are coming to me about meme tokens like Doge, and coming to me about the NFTs and stuff. So maybe it is. I do like that observation. That is something I didn't kind of speculate on before, but I think that's a good.
Yeah, that's
good
something
theory.
that would be very, very, very frustrating if correct, is to see pumps
I'm sorry.
stifled because idiots are buying into fucking digital JPEGs. That is aggravating. Like they're gonna lose their money, and we don't get good. Like who's gonna
People have turned
get to
into
sell that shit
degenerate
down?
gamblers over this. I mean, people got into crypto because they wanted to get rich next week. Now people want to get rich over their lunch break for these NFTs. They're like, I want to claim this thing for free, like CryptoPunks or whatever, and then sell it for millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands. Look at Unisocks. Look at this other nonsense. Even altcoins, I would say, have taken a back seat for the most part.
Yeah,
Unless they're branded with an NFT index fund or some NFT application or promise coin, or any YouTuber whatsoever gets out there, starts talking, buy this NFT, that, and everybody just flocks in. So it's a hype train that's definitely out of control. It is. That is a good analogy of it, though, to look at. This is the kind of new alt season where the real altcoins, like say HEX, there's no spotlight on any other project right now, unless it's an NFT or something around this sector.
Layer two is getting a lot of talk too. You know, that's
Layer
another
2
thing.
does, but
Only
pales
because
in
of high
comparison
gas
to this
fees,
shit.
though.
Yeah, I was about to say layer 2 so they can trade this shit.
Yeah,
Because
it's only because of that.
They realize they can't trade this shit with the high gas fees on layer 1. So that's why layer 2 is going to talk to trade this nonsense.
Yeah, it's because of the games and shit. You can't really it's just you can't do these games on layer 1. It's not feasible.
But a lot of this is also like the .com boom. Remember that website blue.com? And they had a guy painted blue out in San Francisco or whatever.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That was
the biggest. The blue guys do something. The
blue guy, right? They get this young guy out of the gym, whatever. They paint him blue. He's standing out there with the reporter interviewing him. You know, that's before YouTube and all this. And the thing is it was just a bunch of hyped up crap. It was all these sites, boo.com, all this stuff.
Yep.
It was all just a bunch of noise. It never materialized. This is very similar. As long as it's got, back then it was if you had a clever name, and websites were not nearly as evolved. So if your website had any kind of GIF on it at all and a form to fill out, it was state of the art. This kind of stuff is right along those lines, and people were getting rich on that too. Anything coming out .com, and it could be some kids in the garage. It literally was like Excite, and then people would just flock in.
Excite.
Remember that?
Yep.
I mean, they were a real browser engine. I mean, they're long gone now, but there were people getting filthy rich. I mean, literally overnight on some of that stuff too.
Yeah.
This is along similar lines, more Beanie Baby like, but it's along those lines.
Yeah. So
Toby
Will
said with enough. Toby said with enough meth, anything is possible.
That's accurate.
I mean, that's a great comment and screenshot right there.
There you go.
With that comment and that graphic on the screen.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So, Will, I think you might have a unique perspective on this because you also have plenty of experience with traditional markets, but the kind of analogy that I was alluding to, I mean, I think every cycle is different, whether it's like real estate or technology or something like
That's
that.
right.
Do you think that, this could possibly be like this market's, not saying it's today, not saying it's next week, next month, but eventually this could be like the ultimate demise of crypto for this cycle, not forever, obviously.
Right, it could very well be because we didn't have this last time around, right? This is
the new thing.
Yeah, this is the new thing. This is a new shiny object that everybody wants to gawk at. So, yeah, I mean, that entirely makes sense to me. I hadn't even thought about it, to be honest with you. I just used it as a sentiment check signal because it just reminds me of that, right? Like, I really, like, it's funny because I never thought about it like that, but that's kind of what I've been saying because when you have people that are celebrities and all these clowns promoting this crap, that's basically what it means, and I hadn't thought about it in the way you related, but that's exactly what it is. It really is a sector rotation from altcoins to nothing, JPEGs. So yeah, good luck to those buying them and shit.
The longer that cat sits up there, I feel like it's starting to stare into my soul.
Oh my god, it's crazy. I'm staring at this right now. I'm here looking at it because I'm like, why? I'm trying to figure this out. Like, how do I even put a picture on here? Can I throw some like a big old hex thing on here? Like,
more hex.
Have you claimed your fucking airdrops to those fucking things?
I don't have.
They
any
went up,
drops, bro.
No, they went up a whole stupid. I mean, dumb idiots are buying this shit. Dumb idiots are
that's
buying
what I'm
it.
saying. Yeah, that shit makes no sense,
dumb
bro.
Walls.
I'm trying to figure out like what or who some of these people are. Is that like He-Man with like eyebrows or something?
Yeah.
See, I like they had a free Ross, like a help free Ross sign the petition right next to the cat there, and then somebody put Ross Geller's face over it from
The only thing that scares me about this is people that, and there's going to be plenty of them that get absolutely destroyed.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They're going to lose everything
absolutely.
with these, and then they're going to go crying for regulation.
Yeah,
It's not their fault that they spent too much money on a JPEG, and somebody needs to hold their hands. So they're going to go, pounding the drums for some, justice and regulation to come in, and that's the only thing that I find
regulation,
really,
and then they don't come back for 4 years, and we have these
That
stupid
too.
long cycles because they get so crushed and crippled because they come into this shit, and then they wonder like why they didn't make money, why they got so wrecked. It's because of this shit like this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it sucks. If people treat here's the thing about all of the NFT shit is that I get trading cards and shit. I don't buy them. I don't think they're a good investment or anything. But if you don't think of it as a fucking investment, it's just some fun ass stupid toy that then fine, whatever. If that's all this was, then fine, whatever. But people are not buying it as some fun ass stupid toy. They're buying it thinking that they're gonna play these silly games and somehow get rich doing it, and that's just.
And where could you display it one day? Are you gonna have an HD wall and then
no, you're gonna display it on the land you buy in one of these fucking virtual worlds. You're gonna put an art gallery on your Decentraland fucking place and showcase your shit there.
But what if your JPEG is low res?
Then you're going to charge admission for people to come to your digital museum.
The one guy that sold, I forgot what his name was. He was on the Graham Stephan show, and he did an interview on his iced coffee hour. But he sold a music album for almost $12 million. And
Nice.
He was talking about it at one point, but in his house, he literally has TVs where he cycles through his NFT art, but it's not even the real. It's just, man, when I listen to these people just describe this NFT stuff, I'm just like, oh my god.
You know what that reminds me of, Motley? That reminds me of those frames that sell at Rite Aid or Walgreens. For $10. Throw your fucking USB in there and shit right out.
It's just like that. But it's just so funny because they try to emphasize how these are pieces unique, but essentially they have to display them on a TV, and then what they're essentially displaying is just a JPEG. It's just
no matter how you cut it,
they paid $10 million for it. So
no matter how you cut it, that's what it is, man. Yeah, I just my opinion on NFTs is that if you're inept enough to buy a JPEG, good luck to you. But the only thing worth anything in the NFT landscape is stuff that's tied to a game or stuff that's tied to IP. That's it. That's it. Nothing else.
Even with games and other stuff, right? Stuff will lose its luster over time. It's very
exactly.
It's very hard to even find games that stand the last of time.
Correct.
So even with that,
it's timing, right? It's all timing. It's all of that. I mean, everything applies really.
Yep. Entry, exits. That's why Hex is just better.
World of Warcraft gold used to go dollar for dollar with the coins, right? 1,000 gold would cost you $1,000 US. Real money. In the peak of the game's heyday now, I don't even think anybody would pay it. It dwindled down quickly to now it was $100 for 1,000 gold and $20 and it was 10,000 gold to try to get more. Yeah, and weapons and armor and all that kind of thing. But gaming, I do agree. Gaming, music, there are some things that there's a market for, but that just needs to emerge out of this aftermath. Right now, none of that's really getting a lot of attention. You got the thick Pokemon cards now.
What?
Have you seen those?
No.
Yeah, Alex
I'm not familiar
Becker
with
had him on
this.
his channel here this morning. He's
I
got
don't know
a
if I want to see it. It
Wait,
sounds
Motley.
awful.
Has Motley seen these? You might want to hide his
Thick?
eyes.
No, I haven't.
like a thick Pikachu, a thick whatever. All the
Sounds
characters are like these
awful.
fat
What
Pokemon.
is going on? What is going on?
It's a new hot item. Yeah.
What is this?
What have you been looking at, Big Pep?
Yeah,
Stumbled
like,
across
what,
this.
what do you even
I-
find
I-
this stuff?
Thick
was an
Pokemon.
accident.
Is it thick with 2 C's or?
Randy sent me a link. He's not here.
Oh, Randy. Of
Oh,
course,
Randy.
Randy.
He's not here anymore. Randy sent me a
Guys
link.
now. Oh,
No,
man, I
no,
got him
other
on the
than-
next one.
If you look at Alex Becker's YouTube, he talks a lot about this stuff, and he claims he owns CryptoPunks, all this kind of thing. But he also says that this stuff is going to end in a disaster for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
Not together. He's made a lot of money on them, but he was pointing those out in his video this morning, and I thought it was funny. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh my god.
Incredible.
Any idea? Anything? There's a wrapped cats now too, like a wrapped crypto kitties, something like that. It's like the same type of thing, but it's
They're bringing
called
them back.
wrapped kittens or something. Yeah, it's just stupid. Same kind of nonsense.
Oh my god. I'm trying to look this shit up now. and I don't think
See
I don't
what
think
we
I
found.
don't think I want to look into it anymore. I'm good. Bro, this shit's weird. Okay, cool.
Did you find it?
Maybe the images I'm seeing, I don't really want to continue.
That was
to
just say,
delve
be
into,
careful with
so-
your search. bro.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm good. I'm just gonna leave that one to
No, they were
the rest
just
of the internet.
They were like almost regular. They weren't anything like super perverted or anything. They were just fat.
Okay,
Oh,
well, yeah,
you
I
know.
ran into some other shit. So.
But it's THIC, I think, is the way it was spelled.
Okay, yeah, I did the 2 C's, so that might be
That
where
might
I
be
went
what- I don't know
wrong.
what you're gonna get with that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's nuts. It's just, and now tomorrow it'll be something else, right?
Children of the Grave said, "Bro, Big Pep is mixing up his Pornhub searches."
You know, that's why I have to use my glasses.
Randy, he got
When
it
I
from
don't use
Randy,
my
everyone.
glasses, yeah. Don't Google Hummer just by itself. You're not gonna get the car.
Oh my
It's
God.
the last thing that
Right.
comes up.
Whitehouse.com. Or whatever.
Yeah.
I got it.
Old school.
You
Anyway,
guys are too funny, man.
yeah, just whale watching here. We had a enormous good accounting of 31,772 hex just crossed the wires. So yeah,
They could have counted it.
yeah,
Okay.
huge.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good chunk of change.
Do
And
what you gotta do.
we're
No, in
still-
terms of what we're talking about. But
Yeah. No, it's kind of interesting too as we come up on getting all your taxes in. So good accounting
Yeah,
might be a more
exactly.
prevalent
Quite well.
feature over these next couple days or month.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just go around the room, I guess, and get, our final takes on the evening. Where you stand, obviously, nothing has occurred with this large stake at the moment, and for sure, as soon as we go off air, something will happen. But we'll send it around to Motley first. Just, I guess, what are your just general takes on HEX? How you feeling? Short term, say 3 months, and anytime after that, long term. I'll just start to give a baseline. I touched on it earlier. I'm quite bullish. Haven't been more bullish really with the size and length of stakes that I'm seeing coming across. All these coins will add up because they are being put not just 2 months, 1 month out. I'm seeing 5, 5, 5, 5 in 10 years, and that all adds up over time. Later, probably, than sooner. But the staking percentage is creeping back up, even after that huge good accounting that we had. And I'm feeling, no matter what happens with this giant whale stake that we've been talking about this evening, I'm still very bullish. It's obviously my favorite product out there right now for crypto. So just want to toss around the room. What do you think, Miley?
Yep. So, I mean, humans are naturally impatient, right? Even hexicans. As we sit here and we just want price to go up, obviously we're in it for the money. Like Big Pep said, we've just gone full degen at this point. Like, people no longer want to get rich within the cycle. People want to get rich after their lunch break. Like, buy this NFT, sell it for 70 million. You just got to remember what HEX is. It's the sure bet. It's what's going to build you. It's going to generate you yield. It's your money minting machine. and it's going to print you money for years to come. So you have to invest your time, your assets now, and you'll think, just like we wish we had a time machine back in the early days of Hex. I guarantee you 5, 10, 15 years out, we're going to wish we had a time machine and said, why the fuck did I not just dump everything in at 1 cent Hex? It's going to be the same. We're going to be playing out we're going to play out the same scenario years down the road. So again, it's just a patience thing. Hex will continue to steadily go up and to the right. We will have our giant jumps. Hopefully you're in at that point, because once we reach those giant, when we just take off at those certain points, if you're not in, you missed it. You're gonna have to buy in at that new price floor, and so keep doing what you're doing. Hexagon's already, they know what the deal is. But like I said, we're gonna be looking this a year, 2 years back, and like, man, remember when we were talking about this on Cabana stream, talking about that big stake? All of it's irrelevant. Like we should have probably been dying to buy 1 cent Hex, because we'll be sitting at $1 by then, or $2 or $3 or $10. Who knows? But as time goes on, just make sure you guys continue to be smart with your investments. Follow all the good kind of carrot and stick behavior that Hex kind of gives you. Just follow it. Hex saves you from yourself locking it up. I know we'll have new features that come along, like Big Pep was saying, it's more of a utility, but like HEXbay, encapsulated stakes probably will become a thing. But for me, it probably will be something that I just don't necessarily need a hand in, just because it's for other entities other than myself. I like being able to save myself down the road, because I know when Hex goes to $5, $10, I'm going to want to sell to some degree, and I'm going to enjoy the fact that I'm locked up and protecting myself from further gains in the future.
Well said. Final takes, Big Pep.
Well, I mean, I'm still very bullish on Hex big picture. I mean, you got to realize that the vast majority of the world doesn't even know Hex exists, and most of the community, or most of the population, is not even in crypto, and even a lot of people in the crypto community aren't into or aren't aware of Hex. And anybody that I've communicated with in the real world, with my regular life, they all are intrigued by the concept and the paradigm. They get it. They don't understand crypto. Most people that stay out of crypto have misconceptions about the space as a whole. And I talk about that on the live streams too. But there's tons and tons of headroom. This short-term volatility to me is nothing. It's almost just kind of something we keep ourselves busy with past the time. We watch it, but don't overreact or even react on it. And if you want to think about how far Hex can go price-wise, I mean, just look at Bitcoin. Look at where it came from. I know there's a lot more Hex than there are Bitcoin, but that's beside the point. You also don't need $60,000 Hex for people to become extremely wealthy. And the other thing that I'd like to point out too, that I think may actually still cause some growth in Hex, is when this NFT mania and all this bubble explodes, and it will burst at some point, and there will be a big correction, and it's likely going to be because of that. And even if it's because of real estate or something, doesn't matter. I would be interested to see if a lot of that money doesn't come into Hex.
100%.
People looking for a safe haven, a shelter, something that's working, completed. They got burned. We saw it in 2017. People were just chasing everything, and then what do? They started to get a little more methodical in their thinking. They looked for, projects that had some traction, a real team, and of course, Hex not only does it have, everything beyond those, it's completed, and it's still evolving and improving over time. So big picture, long term, very bullish. Short term, I expect we'll see some points of volatility. Whether it's this whale, maybe it won't even be him. Maybe there'll be something else in the news that causes an arbitrage sale. Who knows? But you're still earning that trust as interest, keeping the hands strong, and looking at points in time where stakes mature is really where I'm more interested at, and just kind of enjoy the ride along the way. And we're all still very early. If you buy Hex today, you're still an early adopter. Like I said, it just hasn't taken, the masses just aren't here yet. They don't even know about it yet.
Yeah, I think when we first streamed, just you and I together back in October and November, we kind of highlighted or just touched on this springish, like right around now where we are, as the point to where the tide starts to finally go out, and the major supply shocks are kind of gone. The big stakes, obviously we're going to have the rolling stakes going forward, but a lot of these big stakes are finally coming to an end, and I think we have one more maybe within the next few weeks or a couple weeks or something like that. So it's definitely just time, like you said, for the long-term view, and I totally agree with that. How about you, Big Kirk? Any final thoughts?
Bullish, short term, medium term. I want to say bullish, but like I just have a feeling that this mania, like we've gone up a lot and other things, and I've used to think that we're going to last this full year of this bull market, and I'm starting to wonder if
overall cycle.
Yeah. So I'm starting to think that, like, I'm not saying that HEX isn't going to perform very well in a bear market, but performing very well in a crypto bear market is going down 40%, not 80%. So, let's temper ourselves to some degree. So like I could see that in the medium term mark. Like I don't, long term super bullish, short term very bullish. The chart looks great right now. Things look great right now. The tides are turning around right now. What happens in the stake is very important. But like, I still think, regardless of that, 2 to 3 cent HEX is in our like relatively near future. But I do worry for the overall health of the market when things like, I think that there could be another very parabolic, few weeks, month coming up here for everything. And when that happens, the more of those that we have, the more you just like feel like you're playing a game of musical chairs, hot potato, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And there's just a clock somewhere ticking on how long that can be sustainable. So, but I mean, I still think there's lots more up to come. So, yay.
Any word or thoughts, I should say, on crypto EWOX? I think I heard this mentioned a couple days ago. Will there be a hexagon that runs good accounting on this large stake just so the stake rate goes up? Or the rate goes down, interest goes up. So, I mean, that's all in the game theory, right? Nobody knows, but Wales.
So,
what you got, man? So, we've spoken a bit over the past few weeks on streams, but I think I know, but plenty of people out there, short, medium, long term. What are your, I guess, final thoughts? And we already had one question. End of year, do you still hold to your $10 hex? That's moon math. But hey, if you hold to it, you hold to it. But short, medium, long term, what are you thinking?
Well, medium term, neutral. I'm hoping that price continues to go sideways. But I'm overall neutral short term. Medium term, just like Big K said, you got to be bullish because the chart looks great. Long term, completely agree with Big Pep. It's just, you just got to be long this thing. And just to harp on what Motley said, right, because that was really the nail in the coffin for me. People are going to definitely look back at this point in time and think that they're morons, because I'm being very serious with everything that I say. This is all math. You don't have to believe anything. You just got to do the math. It's right there. So, yeah, long-term bullish can be.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm just looking over one last time the wire, nothing crazy. End stakes of 425,000, 429,000, 511,000.
They're clearly waiting for the stream to go off.
They clearly are.
Then they make their move. This is what they're waiting on.
Let's hope so.
But as we close here, thank you to all our guests here. Motley, man, before we go around the room and tell us where everybody can find you.
Motley Investor on Telegram, YouTube, and Twitter.
Nice.
Yep.
Pep, where can Hexagon Nation find you?
Back at Big Pep on YouTube again, and Big Pep Crypto on Twitter.
Oh, you got Big Pep on YouTube?
I changed it the other day. It seemed to go through. So they blocked the other Big Pep, but they allowed me to change it to this one. So I'll brand it that way eventually. It's not quite there yet, but that's what I have.
All right, noted. Got it. Big Kurk.
At Big Kurkowski on Twitter, on Telegram. Find me there.
Income Watch Whales Only Man. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Whales Only 1, and on Telegram at t.me/whales only.
See, I don't even think I'm with you on Telegram. All right. Well, thank you for that update.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right, gents. Well, we will wrap it, and as soon as we wrap it, we will see some moves happen. But until then, thank you. Awesome panel. Awesome chat. So you guys just lit up with the questions, comments. Not even with a Richard Hart promotion. I think this might have been the most watched stream that I've done. So this community is just growing every day. It's awesome. So thank you, everybody out there.
Real quick, can you
Yo.
put Johnny's comments just so people can get some of the misconceptions out there? Because I thought about this as well when Crypto Ewok.
You want me to start with Limbo?
Yes. So people can see what actually takes place when good accounting goes through and not. So we clear that up. So good accounting is limbo. So it's not going to actually count until they mint. Those coins don't exist. It's just removing the T shares from the pool. So they go to the next one. Yep. Effect percentage stake, but it doesn't impact the share rate or supply. Yeah. It's just a little misconception with the good accounting feature is one that's kind of taken Hexagons a little while to get a hold of. There just wasn't a lot of information on it in the beginning.
And also the order, I think, is done with, I guess, end stake, and there was some confusion, I guess, with the big recent 600 million stake as the tweets came out on Whalebot, and it was like, oh, which happened first, and that whole thing. So, yeah, chaos is definitely on top of that. Just reading through later comments. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much, and thanks for tuning in. And next newsworthy event, I'll definitely try to put something together with an awesome panel like this. Thank you, Motley. Thank you, Pep. Yep. Thank you, Whales. And thank you, Kirk.
Thank you,
and look forward to do it again sometime soon.
It was a pleasure, guys.
Yep.
See you guys.
Man, thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Later.
Thanks. Take care.